Hello, and welcome to Go Spill the Tea with myself, Paranormal Mitch.
And Paranormal Teach.
We have our first reoccurring guest today. We have Morgan with us. Hi, Morgan.
Am I the first reoccurring?
Yes.
You're the first person who's been on our podcast twice.
Of course.
That makes me happy.
So special.
This podcast made us friends, and now she's back as friend, not stranger.
Wild.
Going for round 2.
Still sweating the same amount. I don't know.
We're not nervous. We're chilling.
We're chilling. It is what it is.
We're doing great.
We're doing great. Well, we have an awesome episode today. We are talking about Appalachia ghost stories, and we have a Appalachia expert with us. So Morgan, tell us a little bit about your background with the Appalachia and how you kind of got into the stories of Appalachia.
First of all, I'm very proud of you for saying it correctly. I had to retrain these two.
You taught us.
I got so nervous.
They walked into West Virginia full chest and said Appalachia, and I was like,
that's how everybody says it out here. And
yes.
She corrected me, and I learned.
But we learn, and we're smarter now for it.
She was scared somebody was going to take me down in the street for saying it wrong.
They would have.
They will.
They will.
They will.
Morgan was like ducking her head like I don't know her.
It was wild.
No, I pulled you guys to the side. I was like, please stop doing that.
Yes.
We're doing great.
We're doing great.
Still.
What was the question? I'm just kidding. So I've always lived in the mountains. I actually live like 20 minutes driving from the Appalachian Trail. So I'm like deep in the trenches out here. And my family would say weird shit to me growing up. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
Can I censor myself? Okay.
No.
Not here.
Okay. My grandmother would. Okay, good. My grandmother would say weird stuff that, like, whenever I grew up and I looked into the folklore, I was like, oh, you were just really religious, and that's like the same thing. Like, she would be like, don't whistle outside because the devil is gonna get you. Like, she would tell me that as a 3-year-old. So I can't really whistle that well now because I didn't feel a need to learn. But she would say little stuff like that, and then it all kind of correlates back. And I find it really interesting how people grew up here and they heard certain things growing up, and it just all kind of meshes back together. It's really interesting.
It didn't have anything like that growing up.
No.
The scariest thing growing up was like
Cuba Road.
Our little folk legend of like
a cemetery.
A cemetery. That was it. Like there wasn't anything. I could whistle outside, no problem. Crazy.
It's weird here.
I can see that. We've experienced it too.
You've been here.
Yeah.
It's true. I think the weirdest thing was, one of the weird things was when we'd be outside, like something would happen and then be like, all right, gotta go inside. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like, where are we going? Where
are we going?
What's
and
happening?
They're like, nope, gotta go inside. Gotta just keep your eyes down. And I'm like, is this real? And they're like, oh no, this is 100% real. I was like, oh, this is something.
But you guys heard the whistling outside, didn't you?
100%.
We heard the whistling inside too that one time, which was crazy. We were all like standing around talking in the kitchen, and there's like whistling inside the house, and we all look at each other and we're like, did you hear that? And everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, no, that was real. Like that, I did not just make that up. Like that was real inside the house.
And it's not a bird. Like it's so specific.
It was also the middle of the night when that happened.
Yeah.
I was like,
it sounds like
it's in the middle of the room, like in the middle of the room, just like in between us. I was like, oh, okay, this is now I know why she told me don't whistle.
So do you think growing up with these stories and having these experiences has sort of changed the way that you like view the space around you or view the paranormal?
Definitely. I think it made me more open to it because outside of like folklore, my family's just weird on my dad's side with paranormal stuff. Like my grandfather would have experiences all the time, and it's stuff they would openly talk about with me. And I don't know if necessarily everyone would have had that many experiences outside of the mountains. So I definitely think it's kind of shaped everyone and made us all see weird shit and be kind of weird about it and just open about it. So yeah, I definitely think it's heightened stuff for sure.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Like, especially if you have experience to it, it's like being exposed to something, you're more likely to see it. You know? Yeah. Wild.
So I feel like anybody that like wasn't used to being there would just hear whistling outside and assume it's a bird, right? Like nobody would think twice about it. But if you're kind of programmed that way.
Yeah, for sure. And then considering you had all these stories growing up, when did you decide it was time to start sharing the experiences online or with other people?
So it's actually sad story a little bit. I had a YouTube channel when I was in high school because my most of my family was very accepting with scary stuff, and I've always loved it. And when I was like 14, 15, I decided I want to be a YouTuber. So I had a YouTube channel. Found out the girl my cousin married was literally bullying me behind my back, just like ripping me apart to everyone and calling me saying I needed to be locked up for talking about ghosts. It was a whole thing. She sucks so bad. I hate that woman still. But I deleted everything, never talked about it again, didn't talk about ghosts. Actually rewired my entire personality to just not be like that. And I remember scrolling on TikTok probably in like 2019, and I came across someone talking about scary stories. I don't remember who it was, but I was like, "Ah, the comments don't suck. Like they're not bullying this person in the comments. I
Mm-hmm.
should try that." And I did. And I started talking about like experiences I had, experiences my grandfather had, and I did this little series and it just kind of popped off. And I was like, a safe space? Like this can exist online? And it did.
Crazy. Isn't it crazy how I feel like I've always felt like as you know, I got older, you kind of grow more into yourself and like you kind of look back on things that you've kind of lost in the past and they kind of come back up. I've always felt that.
It's
Yeah,
funny
I
too. It's
agree.
like when I started making haunted doll content, like I expected, like I signed up for this knowing people were gonna like have bad feelings about it and like say crap about it. I've been so pleasantly surprised. Like there are so many people out there who are interested in this stuff, but just aren't brave enough to like be the one to put themselves out there to talk about it. And it's like you find so
Yeah.
many like-minded people who are so invested in it. And it's really refreshing. It's like, you know, this interest, it's like it's niche, right? So it's like there's not a ton of people locally to connect with on the topic. And then, you know, you find people from other areas who are interested in what you're interested in. And like some of my closest friends, you know, I've like met doing this because it's people that are just like me that I never would have met locally if I tried. So
Mhm.
it's
Exactly.
cool. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Wild. Maybe the internet did something good for once.
Yeah.
Who knows? Cool.
Time will
So
tell.
we'll tell. That's a good point. So I think we've been very fortunate to experience, Appalachia. But if someone hasn't been there, what would you describe as like the energy or the environment? Like, what are some of the feelings that very much align with Appalachia that someone who hasn't been there maybe not won't understand?
Honestly, you know that part you're watching like a scary movie, and you know a jump scare's coming, and you're like bracing for it. I just feel like that's the whole vibe outside. It just,
Interesting.
it's like you're always on edge.
Hmm.
And is that daytime too?
No, not for
No.
me at least. I know
Okay.
a lot of people feel differently. I don't know. It feels different here, but it's not in the daytime. It's so different as well as nighttime. Did
Mhm.
you guys experience that too? It's just a different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
day felt kind of fine. I mean, it kind of just felt
Yeah.
normal. But I think at night, I don't know. I feel like it was almost like there's like something there and you can't tell what it is, and it's just like a little, just like a tad off, just a hair,
Yeah.
enough to where like but like enough to where I could ignore it and it would make sense still. So
And it's not always like threatening either. It's just like
no, no,
something's
no.
there, something's gonna jump scare me. I'm
Yeah. Like,
just
you know,
looking for it.
something's around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then if
exactly.
I know we don't have an exact answer, but if you were to guess what makes Appalachia such a
Hotspot.
hub and a hot spot of these paranormal things or these stories, what do you think it would be?
So definitely the age of the mountains, but I think the horrible stuff that happened to indigenous people here aids to a lot. There was a lot of tragedy in the mountains, so I think that paired with the age really just does it in. And I mean, you have to look. So Appalachia's it when Pangea was a thing. I mean, it was massive. And if you look at things that happen in the Scottish Highlands, it's so similar. And I think that's so interesting. And everything's just so old and it comes together and it's beautifully terrifying. And I could talk about that all day, honestly.
Hmm.
You always think about too, like, you know, when we've like talk about like the Fae and stuff like that, it's like they are drawn to heavily like densely wooded areas, a little bit more like desolate, like away from the city. So it's like kind of also on top of all of that, probably like the perfect place for them to like have space. But then there's also going to be more like human interaction, just not as much as other places. So it's like it's a good choice, but people are still going to have those experiences.
Actually, you mentioned this just reminded me, and I need to say it because it's creepy and I found it out recently. Did you guys know that people that hike the Appalachian Trail give each other nicknames so the things in the woods don't know their names? Because I
No, I
didn't know
did not
that.
know that.
No.
Found that
Huh.
out from hikers recently, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I've
But it's
never
kind of
heard that.
genius.
I mean, it makes sense. There's what?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's so many wild rules. So I think the one we talked about is don't whistle at night.
Yeah, tell us the rules.
Tell us the rules.
Give us the
And
rule rundown.
if you were to pick one rule of like, this is my hard rule, like I will never break this. I have a firm belief in that. What's that one rule?
I think this one's very specific to not break, but also kind of break. If you hear what sounds like a woman screaming, don't go look for it. I don't care if you believe in folklore or not, that could be a mountain lion. And that stresses
Mhm.
me out when people are like, no, you need to go help. Call the police. Like, don't go out there by
Yeah.
yourself.
I'm not walking in the woods.
No,
Sorry.
because mountain lions sound just like a woman screaming. It's
Yeah.
horrible. So I think that's my one for multiple reasons that like never break, but also like get help just in case, especially if you're near the trail, someone could be hurt. Um, some of the rules I'm not going to name them all because we'll be here for hours. But don't follow your name being called into the woods. Don't follow your name being called at all. Period, unless you can like determine the source here. Let's see. If it gets randomly dark, leave the area. Like if it's daytime and there's no clouds and suddenly it's dark. I experienced that for the first time recently and it was horrible. Also something that happens in the woods, and I've never had this happen, but I've had so many stories written into me. Let's say you're out on a hike. You've been in this area forever. You always go there. You get lost for no reason and lose time. Like people will go hike trails they know by heart, come out 4 hours later for a 30-minute hike, and they got lost.
Mhm.
And that's so weird to me. And I don't know what kind of you guys work with Fae a lot. Does that sound like a bit of a Fae activity to you? It's always sounded like
Could
that
be.
to me.
It could be.
Could be, definitely.
I-
There are a lot of non-human spirits that can cause issues with
Yeah.
time, though, too. But
Yeah.
there's stuff with time with Fae for sure. Like sometimes I'll be in a spirit box session. I feel like I'm in for 5 minutes, and like I come out and it's like been over an hour, and I had no idea, other than the fact that my body is like physically exhausted. But like I thought there was like no time that passed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also
That
think
was always really.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
also think there might be something to just the fact that it is the mountains and just like the space. Because I think there's something about like, I know this sounds weird, but trees look the same, right?
Oh, yeah.
So as you're going, like if you showed me a picture of one spot in the trail and then 5 minutes on the trail and then an hour down the trail, it's probably all gonna look the exact same.
Yeah.
And unless you've done it a billion
That can mess with your
times,
time perception.
you know, that
for
can
sure.
mess with your time perception. Or I think there's so many things that like can just veer off. It's creepy.
It's definitely creepy. The woods, yeah. It's the denseness of it. And you're right. Everything looks the
Of it.
same.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What was that other thing you guys taught us? Like if you hear whistling or like a voice, if it sounds close by, it's far away.
But if it sounds far, it's close.
If it sounds far,
Yes.
it's close. Is that what it was?
It's like a manipulation tactic. They can throw their voice, they can make themselves sound like whatever they want to. But it's like if you hear something that sounds far away, you're probably like, whoop, thank God. And then you act a fool when it's like right behind you. So it's actually kind of genius, but it's devious.
It's
Spooky.
epic, that's for sure. You know, like you got to give it to him for
Yeah.
creativity.
Yeah. You might know from family. Do you know where these rules come from? Like,
they're passed down.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot of them are from indigenous folklore for sure. But I know it's each like different tribe had different rules, and then people outside of the tribes had different rules, but they're all like the same every
Mhm.
time. It's kind of like what I told you. Like I was told the devil would get me. That's not gonna happen. But other stuff would. It's like it all kind of blends together, and it's really strange. It's too much of a coincidence that everything matches together so perfectly, but is
Yeah.
totally different.
That's interesting.
I've always found it really wild when you will have multiple like groups of people that come from different places and they'll come up with the same answer without interacting with each other.
We're seeing that with legends a lot on episodes. It's like,
So
oh, okay, we're gonna,
much.
focus on this specific like creature from a bajillion years ago, but then we find basically the same creature with a different name in different folklore in different countries long before the internet or any way for them to have crossed. And
Yeah.
it's like, like that tells you something, right? It's like, okay, they had no way to communicate with one another. They still came up with the same thing. The only
Mhm.
difference is the name. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably a thing.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's just painted in whatever like their culture embraced, right? So like,
Yes.
stuff with the Greek gods was like very Greek god heavy, but like let's say mermaids, for example, like there are stories all over the world of like women in the sea from Asia, from Europe, from like it's all over the place. But like, yeah, someone just flickered the lights. So like, is it the
I
same
saw
thing?
that.
It's not like, I don't know. Like it's wild, but it's
like,
fun. It's fun to
trying not
find
to alert
because you
to
look at it and you're like, oh, this is like just like what else I read, and it's like discovering a little thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
That was staying on the theme with Appalachia. Mothman was like that. Like everyone was having so many experiences, and like people were reporting it at the same time without knowing each other. It's like, okay, something happened.
Yeah, for sure. That's always wild. If you were to pick like a hallmark experience for you that maybe either change your perspective on Appalachia or something that kind of sticks with you as like an important event that you had, is there any that you can think of, like a story that was important to you?
Favorite story.
Like favorite experience or
Yeah,
whatever you want.
I can tell you my scariest one.
Sure, why not?
We like scary.
It's spooky season.
Yes, it is. Okay, this one's weird. So we noticed Hurricane Helene happened and then activity chilled out and then it ramped back up. And I had never been chased by a whistle before. Usually you'll hear it, you mind your business, you do whatever. But there was one instance we were leaving my family's farm. And the setup of it, you drive down the hill, you pass by my childhood house, and then you have to like drive up over a mountain. It's a lot of woods. And I remember we had heard the whistle outside. We were like, okay, we need to leave. We were already leaving anyways. We get in our car. We hear the whistle, the exact whistle bouncing off of every tree we passed with our car, keeping up with it. And I was going probably like 50 miles an hour. And I just remember it like chasing the whole way. And I have never felt fear like that in my life. Like it was like, it's like my body accepted that I was about to die. I cannot describe the visceral reaction I had to a whistle. And the second we were out of the woods, it stopped. But things got so bad right after the calm down after Hurricane Helene. Things were so bad here. And I guess it was confusion and anger, which I understand, but things were rough. And I remember that being right after.
Are there theories on what is doing the whistling?
It depends on who you ask. There's a bunch of different creatures. Some people think it's Fae. I don't necessarily think it's Fae.
I don't think so.
No, there's a ton of different things, but I think it's an Appalachian Wendigo, and I hate that I said that out loud just now. But it could really be so many things. I don't necessarily think it's a walker of any sort. I'm really conflicted on if I think those are here or not because they're very much not native to this area. But I'm all over the place of, okay, are these things? I don't think they have to stay where they're from. I think they can move around. I get really conflicted on that. What do you guys
The other
think? Do you
thing
think they
too
move?
is like with non-human spirits, there are so many non-human spirits out there we don't have names for. Like
100%.
we have spirits in our house who are non-human, and it's like everybody's like, what is it? What is it? I don't know what it is. I just know it's not a person. And they have, oddball characteristics, and I can tell you what they do, how they function, how they work. But, you like, like Saya, for example, we're like, Saya, what are you? And she's like, I'm just Saya. And we're like, okay, good. Nice talk. Like we don't always have a word for these things. So like, I always, have the wonder about the possibility of like, is this just something that nobody ever identified, named, whatever? And we have no idea. Like it could just be a random thing out there and there's no name for it at all. Which is a theory I've always wondered about because we just don't know everything. Humans like to think we know everything, but we just don't.
I don't think we can't comprehend a lot of shit. I don't
No,
think.
no, we can't. One question I have for you, because this is just like a classic, thing that I get asked about a lot, is the mimic situation. You have a lot of mimic experience. What is your mimic experience out there? Because I have some viewers who have asked me about that.
So it started, I don't honestly just think they pick people at random. I think you give them a little bit too much attention and they stick to you. And then they start tormenting you. I don't know what their purpose is. Some people think they're trying to replace you. Some people think they're trying to replace the person they're pretending to be. Some people think they just fucking suck and they're assholes and they just like messing with you.
The entertainment value of it all.
Yeah, honestly, me.
Yeah.
But I started having experiences. Here's the thing. In Appalachia, things just mimic. Anything can mimic. It's not just this one thing, especially things in the woods. So I don't necessarily know when it shifted from just Appalachian activity to a mimic. But I do remember, oh my God, I don't know what year it was. I couldn't tell you. But I remember I was up on my parents' farm by myself. I was filming something and Eric was not with me. Eric is my husband, for anyone listening. He wasn't with me. And my camera kind of shifted to behind me, and you can clearly see the back of his head and like the top of his shirt. And he wasn't with me.
Weird.
So at that point, it was horrifying. And at that point, I didn't really know what a mimic was. I just went to TikTok and I was like, what the hell is happening to me? And that's when I started learning about mimics, learned the difference between that and a doppelganger. Because a doppelganger is like a person. It's like a person that looks just like you.
Right.
But a mimic's supernatural. And I honestly think it's more, what's the word? It's not a spirit. It's more like a cryptid type, like more physical is what I think they are. But I dealt with that for a long time. Finally got rid of it, didn't do it right. It latched onto my dad, and my dad's super religious, did not want any cord cuttings done, which is what you, at least for me, needed to do to get rid of it. So it stayed with him, and it's now bounced back to me somehow. And I'm very confused on how that happened. I guess my protections suck. But I've been dealing with that stuff again, and I hadn't for years. But I know it was tormenting my poor dad. But like, he wouldn't let me help him. I was like, I can help you. But I would get text messages and he'd be like, why are you at the barn? Like, he'd see me on a camera or something. He'd be like, why are you at my house? Why are you at the barn? And I'd just be like, I'm in my bed. Like, I don't know what to do. And he would clearly see me. He would hear me call for help. It was a whole situation. But I know since I've started dealing with it again, he has not. So they definitely are a one place, one time situation.
So it's the same homie, just moving around from activity to activity.
I assume it's the same guy. I don't know. It makes sense. It has to be.
I feel like when we've talked to some of them as well, a lot of times they talk about shapeshifters as well. Is it's like they can kind of do whatever, right? They can appear as one thing, or they can appear as another thing, or they can change or whatnot. And there's so many different types of things that can do that it's totally beyond our comprehension of, like, we have no way of understanding what's happening. Jeez. Wow.
Is there a vent behind you, Mitch? Because your curtain just moved.
Yeah, there's a vent. It just turned off.
Okay. I was like
Yeah. I think the vent just turned off. It does go sometimes. It moves a little.
Caught me off guard. Continue.
it could be someone, who knows. Okay, let's get back to a little bit of your stories. I think those are so fascinating. Kind of talking about some of these legends, some of these spirits. How do you balance like the cultural sensitivity of it? Because there's a lot of things, like, I know when we've talked on podcasts, we're like, okay, we got to be really careful that we don't like not say things bad. That's not what I'm saying. But like, just be delicate,
Represent it
represent them
accurately.
appropriately, and like give accurate information. Like, how do you go about that with some of the stories that you get?
I usually, whenever I get Appalachian stories, a lot of them are from Indigenous people, so that makes me really comfortable to share them. I think you have to approach it in a really respectful way and just be really careful, because you can be insensitive. And I think a good example of insensitivity, in
Insensitive?
did
That's
I
it.
just have a stroke? I think a good example of someone being insensitive is the movie Antlers.
Mm.
I think that was a really bad representation. They had one indigenous person on the set, and he was just in the movie. They didn't even consult anyone. And I think that was a really bad example of how to do it. But yeah, I think you have to be delicate. I feel like I'm screaming. Am I screaming at you guys?
No, you're good.
Thank God. Okay. No, I think you have to go about it just really delicately. And I think getting the input of Indigenous people, not
Mhm.
only is it the right thing to do, it's so fascinating. Just hearing exactly what they were taught and exactly what they've experienced. Especially, I get stories all the time from reservations. Oh my God. Oh
Yeah,
my God. They're
I can see that.
terrifying.
What's your favorite like story that you've gotten from someone?
So mine's very specific. And do you guys know what the Brown Mountain Lights are?
No.
Okay, well, I will be taking you there, but
Great.
it's
All
this
right.
mountain, and it's
I'm down.
fantastic. It's technically okay. It's in Appalachian folklore realm, but it's kind of alien, kind of. Hold on. So the Brown Mountain Lights are it's a mountain inside of Pisgah National Forest in North Carolina, and for years, decades, these lights have been spotted in the sky and like right up at the top of the tree line, and no one knows what they are. People thought it was a train because there's a train through there, which would make sense. Railroad washed out, the light was still there. People thought, okay, someone's camping up there. You couldn't get to that spot at the time. And now people are like, okay, well, it's someone driving, it's car lights. And then they started showing up in the sky. Unless someone has a truck that can do things I didn't know they could do, it's not a truck. But people have been seeing these things for so long, they were studied by the government. The government was looking into them. Appalachian State University had a whole study on them. They've been covered, God, on so many TV shows. People just trying to figure out what they are. But I go there all the time because it's like an hour and a half away from me trying to see these lights. And I've always wanted to see these lights. But I got a story from someone who did experience them. They had went up there. They were just with friends. One of them was playing the guitar. I don't know why that sticks in my head, but one of them was. They were just chilling. And they see this light just kind of rise up in the trees and is just darting around. And it was coming close enough to them that they could see it wasn't attached to anything. It's not like an owl, like you're looking at an owl's eye. It's just this bright yellow light that's darting. And it came so close to them. And I thought that was so cool because it's something I've always wanted to experience.
Crazy.
That sounds Fae-like to me.
Right?
That
I need
does.
to take you there.
We can go.
I'm always down.
It's
We're always down.
You can
Always down
camp there,
for it.
and it's a national forest, so it's creepy anyways.
You
There
know
you
what?
go.
Yeah, there you go.
Put me outside in a tent.
You would
Everybody's gonna have a great
you would
time
not
watching that.
survive out in a tent.
I didn't even survive outside for 20 minutes at a location we went to without screaming about how sticks touched my ankles. So,
Yeah, Taylor's not going to make it
I'm way more
camping.
afraid of the outdoors than I am of ghosts. So,
Luckily, there's an Airbnb there that I'm obsessed with. It's like a huge,
perfect.
like 4-bedroom log cabin, like floor to ceiling windows, like very
There we
not
go.
Appalachia safe, but
As long as it has air conditioning, it works for Taylor.
it does. You're good.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I forgot my question. Okay, here we go. If someone wanted to experience more about Appalachia, what do you think are is there any media that you recommend, or if they were to go experience it for themselves, any places that you recommend, like for a starter or a beginner?
Honestly, somewhere like Brown Mountain would be a good place because, like Taylor said, I think it's more Fey-like, so you're not gonna die. Um, I think also like Point Pleasant, Mothman territory would be safe. I've never heard of a vengeful Mothman experience. They might exist, but I've never heard of it.
Mothman on a rampage.
Crazy.
That would be so scary, actually.
So scary.
No, that would be.
I have so many theories on Mothman. I love Mothman. But I think anywhere like that, maybe somewhere where like there's Bigfoot sightings, although I don't necessarily think Bigfoot's a thing. And that might get me kicked out of the Appalachian Mountains, but
I agree.
really don't. It
You guys
might be
gotta be careful.
something, but like
You got to be careful what you say.
Mitchell, you don't either, love.
Listen. Okay. That's true. But
That's true.
But to be fair, the people that believe in Bigfoot are in on Bigfoot. Like there's some people out there that they live, eat, and breathe Bigfoot. And I'm happy for them. I hope they find him one day.
I will give the benefit of a doubt. I did hear something on the Bellwitch farm. I don't think it
I
was
did too.
Bigfoot, but I did hear something.
I did hear something too. I don't know what that was, but I thought that was more like mimicking.
It had to be.
I thought it was mimicking because it sounded exact. You know, I was like, this is.
We heard all sorts of stuff there.
Yeah. It was so exact. I was like, who is hiding in these trees?
No, literally, I was checking for people. I was like, there's got to be a person in here that just did that.
Yeah.
Zero trusted. Like,
That's why I was like, I don't know if it's Bigfoot or if it's a mimic because it was the exact sound that guy made. Like, it was just spot on. It was weird.
Yeah.
well, I meant to tell you, this is a side quest. When we went to do the haunted hayride at the Bell Witch cave that I chickened out of, we were talking to the tour guide there, and they were telling us mimic stories. And as we were talking, they fired blanks on the hayride, and the hayride was like on the other side. We were at the cave entrance, like up the trail a little bit. A gunshot went off, like right beside of us, but it sounded so weird. And she was like, they're not doing that haunted hayride over here. That wasn't one of them. And then she was like, it's probably the mimic, just so casually. And I was like,
Oh,
See?
no big deal.
I was like, can you tell me more? And she was like, oh yeah, it pretends to be all of us. And I was like, oh, that explains a lot.
Great.
It
Love
tracks.
that.
It tracks.
To me,
that
that feels like more of like a spirit that just wants to mess with you for fun.
Oh yeah.
That's what
Which
it feels
I
like
get.
to me. That I can fully understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives them attention, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. I would do that. I would so
I would
do
too,
that.
to be honest with you. Everybody hates on tricks or spirits, and I'm like, except I would totally be one.
Yeah, we've talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
that. When if you ever make it to the spirit world, you're gonna be
I would like
the
totally
worst
be
ghost.
the bitch stealing somebody's wallet.
You're gonna be stealing stuff. You're gonna be like moving
I get it.
furniture.
I
You're
get
gonna be
it.
like stealing pizzas. It's
Yeah,
gonna be the
like,
most
I get it.
inconvenient stuff.
Yeah. Like I can't be bad because that would totally be me.
Exactly.
So
Yes. I'm like,
I'm gonna haunt you, Morgan.
Watch out, here she comes. Do you think if anyone's going to go do some of this stuff, are there any like basic protections that you would recommend, or any like places people can go learn about protection or things like that?
I think talking to indigenous people is always the best course of action for that. I've learned that iron works pretty well. If you put it outside of your property, I've never kept it on my person because all I have is like a railroad spike, and I feel like I'll die. I'll do something and just kill myself.
Impaled.
Yeah, literally a final destination moment.
Mhm.
I've seen people put it above their front doors and stuff, and that kind of just keeps your house secure. But I honestly, if you just have mutual respect, you get left alone. Like you'll have stray things happen, but nothing's actively going to try to hurt you if you just respect nature. Like, if you're good to the land, it's going to be good back to you. In my experience, there's probably weird cases where that's not a thing, but I think
100,000% agree. I think just don't be an idiot. Number
Mhm.
one. And number two, like respect nature. Like I can't even tell you how many times we've done investigations at cemeteries, and the first thing that they always say every single time is like, thank you for cleaning up the grave. That was very kind. Like every single time.
Yep.
It's like, for me, it's like instinctual now. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go, like, I just want to like pick up the garbage and like clean up the grave a little bit. And then it's like they always, every single time they mention it. every single time. Being respectful to the space is so important.
And especially like,
Beach
you know, you think about the area, I'm sure that place is like flooded with like elemental spirits and fae and all of these like different nature spirits, forest guardians, this, that, another. I mean, like probably all of those things galore out there. And like what people love to tell horror stories about these types of spirits and what they've done. But like you always have to ask the question of like, well, what did you do to the land first? Right? Like those types of spirits do not act out with humans at all unless humans act out first and do something to disrespect the land, the space, their area, etc., whether it's intentional or not. And I think that's what makes those types of like nature spirits a little bit trickier than like a human spirit. Is like human spirits care a little bit more about your intention. And it's like, oh, like that person screwed this up, but they meant well. So like we'll leave it. But like with like nature spirits, what I've found is like they don't give a shit about your intention. They give a shit about what you did. And like, did you do it or did you not do it? And, you know, even if it was an accident, like a mishap is still a mishap and you blew it kind of thing. So I think there's a little bit less understanding with those types of spirits. And like, you know, I'm sure there are, you know, tons and tons of non-human spirits that are niche to that area, but I'm sure there are all the other ones we see everywhere else too. And those spirits don't play with messing with their land at all.
Well, it's not just like, I mean, we're actively destroying their home.
Right.
Like logging, killing the planet. Like I would honestly, I don't blame them for anything. I really don't.
I don't either. Because we don't think, you know, people don't think we're destroying land, but we are. And to them, we are. Because it's like every house we build, you know, is an offense to them. And especially when you move into like these more wooded, like densely wooded areas, it's like you are offending way more than like where we live, where there really isn't that much to mess with. Out there, there's a lot more damage that can be done. So
100%.
And I can't imagine like if you're eating a granola bar and you start littering or like you like, you know, do something stupid or whatnot, like that's their home. Like if you litter in someone's home, like they're gonna be pissed.
I'd be pissed if somebody got my floor dirty, you know.
Exactly. Like it makes it's just how it is.
Yeah.
Well, our dear friend Morgan, those are all the questions we have.
Sweet. That was fast, I feel like, or was it slow? What time is it?
No,
that felt really fast.
I think it was fast. I think you just have to remember that last time we did this,
we didn't know each other.
We talked for like 4 hours.
That's true. We stopped recording and just stayed on the call for like 3 hours.
Yep.
We became friends. And then, it's cute.
And then afterwards, Taylor's like, I am going to talk to her every single day. I love her. We're going to be friends with them. And I was like, okay, great.
And what do we do?
Talk every day.
Talk every day.
Great.
Jer called us on it. Jer was the first one to call us on it. We were like, I was like, oh, Jer, did you visit Morgan because you like her and I talk to her sometimes? He said every day. I said, yeah, you're right. It is every day.
Oh my God, I need to show you his crystal. Wait.
Oh my God, he's probably thrilled.
That's so
cute.
Morgan has like a little offering spot for Jer and the crystal moves around.
Every single person that we know has an offering spot for Jer. He is the most.
I didn't have a choice because he was jiggling my doorknobs and messing with my videos.
He is so social. He just wants
to be friends.
He just wants to go say hi. Like
he's a buddy.
And he just pops in on people. Like it's crazy all the time. He visits people.
I haven't seen glitches on your video since though.
Oh, he likes the crystal.
He's happy with it.
He's happy with it.
It moves around.
It doesn't need to be much. He goes and he sort of like plays with it a little bit and calls it a day. Like he's happy as could be.
Yeah.
He's like, it's still here. Okay.
It's still here. Had to check, double check, still good. That's fantastic. Anything else, Taylor?
I don't think so. Morgan, you got anything else? Final stories, final words, anything?
I don't think so.
Cool.
Feeling good. All right.
Morgan, if people want to see you more, where can they find you?
I am Morg's Hauntings on everything. So TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Threads. What else is there? Goodreads? I don't know. Everything.
Goodreads. Oh wow.
Also, no. Also, for people who haven't seen, we have done 2 investigations.
I mean,
It's more than that, technically.
2 states, multiple
Two states,
locations,
multiple
a lot more
locations.
locations.
We have videos with Morgan.
Yeah.
So are you going to
Yeah.
link some of those?
If you go on my profile on YouTube and you scroll to the bottom, there's now a fancy collaboration section, and all of them are videos with Morgan.
So if you haven't seen those are awesome. We had some awesome experiences. Go check those out. Otherwise, I think that's all we got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a wrap.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a wrap on the episode. We're going to go to a commercial break, and then we're going to talk to Deanna because she's Spirit of the Week.
She is.
That Morgan picked out. So,
Deanna!
She's so cute.
yes.
Well, Morgan, thank you very much. We love talking to you, and we love that you're here. So thank you so much.
And you'll see Morgan again on the channel very soon.
Whoa, spoilers.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Absolutely.
All right.
Off
See
to our
you
commercial break. See you in a sec.
in a moment.
All right. Bye.
Hello, and welcome back from our commercial break with our Spirit of the Week.
It's Deanna.
Deanna. We adore her. She is amazing.
Yes.
Taylor, tell us a little bit of a story about how Deanna came to be here.
Yeah. So Deanna was one. We were about to go on our trip to the Dominican Republic. And I said, I'm not buying any haunted dolls because we're about to go on a trip. I don't want them to show up when we're gone. I'm not. Deanna was released, and I believe it was 7 different people sent me the link to her and said, this one is for you. And I'm like, okay. I purposely haven't been looking at the haunted dolls that have been released because I don't want to buy one before the Dominican Republic. All these people kept sending me her link and being like, this is your haunted doll. And I'm like, why? I'm like, what is it about this one specific haunted doll that everybody thinks she belongs here? So I looked at her and I saw exactly why everybody thought she should end up here very quickly. Deanna is super unique. She's a kid. But she's very mature for her age. What's very interesting about Deanna is that Deanna actually has her own haunted doll, Charlie. That is a super unique feature about her. And I think Charlie is some kind of defense mechanism that he's some kind of entity. He won't communicate with us. We don't know anything about him. I've seen Charlie's shadow figures left and right. And when they first got here, Charlie was kind of trying to intimidate me a bunch. I feel like because he was like, he didn't trust me yet to be good to her.
Yeah.
And then once he saw Deanna was comfortable here and she stabilized, he kind of stabilized too. Because they have 2 different activities. So Deanna, one of her things is she does try to be spooky a little bit. She has this thing she does where she scratches the walls. It sounds like there are wild animals inside your walls, to be quite honest with you. It's toned down a lot. It was happening daily for a while when she first got here. Those first 2 weeks where she was scratching the wall and Charlie was showing up as giant shadow figures all over the place. And it was kind of horror movie-esque. But when she got comfortable here, both the scratching calmed down and so did his activity. I thought she was perfect for Halloween time because Deanna is a spookier spirit, but she's one of the sweetest spirits too. She's very sensitive. Mm-hmm. What was interesting about Deanna is actually she was part of a seller's personal collection. And this seller said, I had resorted to keeping Deanna forever, not because I thought she was the best fit for me, but because I didn't think anybody would take a chance on her because of how kind of spooky it can get. But she's like, I had to go out on a whim and try. I'm kind of in a transition period in my life and I need to see if there's anybody who could possibly support Deanna. It was a risk we were willing to take. I thought she was just an awesome, really interesting kid, and super sweet. She just has these quirky characteristics, and I'm so glad we did because Deanna has been a great fit here. She fascinates us. I kind of will always be curious about about Charlie. I hope one day to get to know who or what Charlie is, because he's really not able to be investigated. The other difficult thing is you can't really isolate Charlie and Deanna to investigate him separately from her. They kind of are a package deal. Really, the only thing that will set Deanna off is removing Charlie from her hands. If you detach Charlie from her vessel, there have been situations where like light bulbs blow out and explode, things like that, where like she really, really gets upset about that. So we really don't have a way to investigate Charlie independently. So, she's one of those spirits, like many of the other spirits that we have, where it's like, we don't have all of the answers right now about what is going on with them, but like, we're okay with that, right? Because we know who she is and we love her for it regardless. So that's kind of a snippet of Deanna. What I ended up doing was I was like, you know what? I reserved her so that when we came back from the Dominican Republic, she could come in. I didn't want her to get delivered and have animal scratching noises while my brother was staying at the house. I just didn't think it would be a good experience for her. But she waited until we got back from our trip, and she got here in, when was that, May? So she's been here for a little bit now, and we've gotten to know her better and better and better as time has gone on. She at first was a little bit kind of quiet and hesitant. She does get nervous, but I feel like she has really kind of come into herself, and we're starting to see more of her personality, which I love to see. So
Yeah. She's very imaginative, very intelligent.
yeah.
So we enjoy that about her. But we asked her some great questions.
And Morgan picked her as Spirit of the Week.
Morgan did pick her Spirit of the Week. She
Yep.
loves her.
Yeah.
She's
hard not to love.
I know. As a reminder of how this works, we asked Deanna these questions, viewer submitted questions, during a Spirit Box session. If you want to see that Spirit Box session, you can go check out Taylor's TikTok channel.
Subscription.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. I am never going to get that in my head.
You're doing great.
Thank you. But I write down her answers word for word. I did have some follow-up questions for Deanna because I think she was a little bit shy, so I wanted to get a little bit more out of her. So here are those questions. First question was from Caitlin.
Shout out.
The question was, out of all of Taylor Mitchell's spirits, who do you get along with the most and why?
This was interesting.
And Deanna said, Agnes. She is my imaginary friend.
I was going to say, we do not have an Agnes.
Yes, this is a time where I got very concerned because I was like, did I forget someone's name? Which may happen. And then I said, have you known Agnes a long time? She said, yes, for 8 years. I said, okay. And then I tried to, my guess was Caitlin's question was a little bit more of like another spirit here. So I asked, is there another spirit here who you like to hang out with? And she said, Charlie. Thank you to him. And then I said, okay, that's great.
And we didn't ask again because
those were her answers.
Yes.
And you respect their answers. Next question is also from Caitlin.
She's a quirky one.
She's quirky. Caitlin's next question was, if you could give any advice to spirit keepers, what would it be? And Deanna said, have lots of fun. Great answer. And I do think a lot of spirits would sympathize with that answer.
They're just trying to have a good time.
Come on.
They're just trying to have a good time.
Can you blame them?
No.
And then my follow-up question, Deanna, was, what is your favorite way to have fun here? I loved this answer. She said, education. I was like, can you explain? She said, learning things about spirits and how it works helps me. I was like, huh. I said, how does it help you? She said, I have to be patient.
So this is the first time we've ever heard something like this out of one of our spirits. And I had never thought about it before. But I never thought about how the education we do for you guys could also benefit them. Like, I never thought about the fact that, like, maybe understanding the spirit world better helps them understand their circumstances
or those around them.
A lot of or those around them. Like, a lot of spirits are very confused about their circumstances. And I never thought about that it could be a benefit to them too. Like, I know our spirits love doing it, but I always thought it was because they like attention and they like being on camera, which I think is also true. I mean, I know it's also true, right? They talk about this, but I never thought about how that educational piece could be of value to them too. And Deanna has calmed down a lot since she first got here. And, you know, I do have to wonder if some of it is because she understands what's going on with her better. And I always find it fascinating too. Like, I get messages and comments and stuff from viewers all the time saying like, my haunted dolls love watching your lives, which is where I do a lot of my education. And I've always thought, and I was always like, what? And they're like, yeah, like, you know, you're doing your educational stuff and they're setting off equipment the entire time. And I never knew why. I thought it was like, oh, they like seeing other haunted dolls. But now I'm sitting here like, maybe it has to do with that educational piece of like, there's something healing about getting to know what's going on with them, why it's happening, what they're experiencing, what they're doing. So I thought it was really cool. And it was something I've never even thought to consider before. So it's always interesting. Like, you don't know which spirit is going to teach you something totally new. And that's part of what I love about doing this is like, you get these little snippets of things like that like seem so simple, but they can help us understand the paranormal in a much bigger way. You know, and this is a response from a little kid and we can learn that. So, you know, for those of you out there that do have haunted dolls, like, you know, even those little statements, like really think about them because sometimes they mean a lot more than they may come off when you first hear them, especially when it's like a spirit that like Deanna, where it's like the responses are a little bit shorter. So yeah.
Yes, a very mature answer, I feel like too.
Yeah.
I feel like she's very much like talks least, says most.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Next question was from Kendra. Shout out. Kendra had a couple great questions. They asked, what is your favorite color? And Deanna said, it's purple and green. And I said, why? And she said, that's pretty.
It's pretty.
Good answer.
Purple's my favorite color too.
I know, it's a good one. Kendra then asked, what is your favorite holiday? Deanna said, Christmas. I love presents.
Very reasonable.
Which I think is fascinating that we get a like really introspective, mature answer because she is very mature. But then again, she's also like a kid. Like, who doesn't love presents? You know? And then I went on a little side tangent. I was like, I was like, I don't think you were here last year for Christmas. And she was like, no. And I was like, we put up lights. We have a little Christmas village. We get everyone presents. I said that. How's that sound? She said, that's great.
Oh, that's great.
So she's very excited.
Yeah.
I mean, who isn't?
You never think about either like something with holidays, you know, and this is how Halloween is coming, right? Like Halloween is super soon. You never think about like some of these spirits never had the like the traditional, you know, holiday opportunities that like maybe you had growing up. You know, we've had multiple spirits tell us like we were never given a present when we were alive,
or from countries that didn't celebrate
that, or like for Halloween, oh, I've never dressed up before. Oh, my family didn't have the money to get me a costume. We've heard all of these things before, and so you know, things as simple as like, oh, you know, I'm going to give you like a little trick-or-treat basket, or you know, something that is for them that helps them experience the holiday. I think it's so meaningful because we hear this over and over and over again, like, you know, I never had that before. And part of, you know, being a spirit keeper, that's always been very important to me is like, especially for the kid spirits who like kid spirits that are still here for a damn reason, and usually that reason is not good. And so, you know, like I try to give them what they didn't get to have when they were alive as much as we possibly can. And I think Deanna is a good example of that. So,
yeah. Kendra then asked, what is one favorite memory that you have? And Deanna said, I don't know. I don't have one. And then I said, is there a memory you really like? And she said, riding a ride at Carnival. Very fun. I love it. I like this answer. This was so funny. Kendra then asked, what's one thing that no one knows about you that you don't mind sharing?
This was niche.
And Deanna said, I drank some coffee once. And I said, did you like it? She said, yes. I love it. I love it. Once again, a appropriate answer.
Such a kid answer.
She answered the question. Did she
did.
not?
She absolutely
answered
did.
the question. Kendra, last question Kendra asked was, is there something that you really enjoy talking about? And Deanna said, yes, science. I said, what kind of science? She said, I don't know. but science.
I think
Science
these
nonetheless.
answers are also a really good example, and I see this all the time of like people that are like asking their haunted dolls like these like super intense, worldly, deep, philosophical questions, asking them about things that they've never seen before, experienced. Oh, tell me about, this crime case. Tell me about this, tell me about that. Like, this is a little kid being a little kid. Like,
Yeah, they
and
don't know.
we have to remember is like who we're talking to and like the experience that they have. Like, if I ask Deanna those things, chances are it's like she just makes something up. And so I think it's really important that we remember like these spirits are who they were. Like, they don't all become these like worldly genius psychics just because they're a spirit. Like Deanna can't predict my future and tell me what is going to happen to me and, as an old lady. Like, but that's okay. Right? Like that's okay. So just remembering like where they come from, what their background is, and that was a big light flicker. I don't know if you guys were able to see that, but totally threw me off track. But yeah. Now I'm lost because
Great.
that distracted me. So back at it.
We'll get back at it. Next question was from Carly, aka Vix. This is one of my favorite answers I've ever gotten from the podcast.
Oh.
Carly asked, if you could play any game in the house, what would it be with and who would it be with? And she said, I would play chess with you.
There he goes.
I love chess. So sweet. And I said, I have a chessboard in my office. She said, yes. I said, we need to find a way to play it. She said, yes.
Are your eyes moist?
My eyes. There they go.
I can like tell from the side. I'm like, oh, he's falling apart. There he goes.
It happens so fast. It takes like two things. Like I cry constantly. Proud of that. So next question is from Carly.
Real men cry.
Their question was, if Mitch and Taylor could make you a meal, what would you want it to be? Excellent question. Love this question.
This one excited her a lot.
Yes. She said some barbecue chicken with French fries.
So cute.
Love it. So cute.
Everybody in the Discord today was talking about Wingstop, and it was like taking everything out of me to like not spoil Deanna's answer. So yeah.
Maybe we should get her some Wingstop.
Yeah, I was like sitting there and I was like, I just want to tell them what Deanna said because it totally goes with this conversation, but I need to keep it
together.
Shut until
keep
Sunday.
It together. Last question, was from myself. I said, what is your favorite part about Halloween? And she said the costumes. And I said, do you like your bow? And she said, yeah.
She got her cool Nightmare Before Christmas bow on.
Very cool.
Very her.
Very her. I said, is there anything you want me to tell Morgan? She said, hello.
Shout out Morgan.
Shout out Morgan.
From Deanna.
And then I asked Deanna, was there any final words you want to say? She said, hello, people. Bye. So there you go.
There you have it.
She is an incredible.
She reminds
young
me
girl.
a lot of Rowan. A lot of Rowan. They have different characteristics. I think Deanna's quite a bit spookier on purpose than Rowan is. But there are similarities. And like one thing is like she was super nervous for doing this.
Very nervous.
And her answers were a lot more clipped than I think they usually are. Like she was definitely really nervous about it. And before we did this, I released her story onto the channel because I like to have their story done before their episodes. If people want background information, want to learn about who they are, whatever, they can go watch that. So Deanna's story is out. It's in the description, but we actually filmed her videos for her story across 3 different days because the first day she was so nervous about it. Like she was not doing anything. She like couldn't do it. So I prepared her. I said, okay, tomorrow night we're going to try again. I'm going to give you this, this, and this. And then like we got a little bit. And then the third day I got like what I feel like is an accurate depiction of like her activity. But it was like she was really nervous about her story being told and being, on camera by herself. We put her on camera a lot with like other spirits and she's fine. But like highlighting her alone was a really big deal. So I'm very proud of her for wanting to do this because Spirit of the Week is not a requirement to live here. If you don't want to be Spirit of the Week, you're not going to be Spirit of the Week. But she wanted to do it. And so we prepared her for it in advance. I told her about her questions like a day before we did this spirit box with her. And I think she did great. So
Yeah, I agree.
proud of her.
We adore her. And I love her little bow.
I know.
Yeah.
She looks so good.
So good. Well, I think that about wraps it up our podcast for this week.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed our talk with Morgan. I hope you enjoyed Deanna's story and her answers.
Shout out to our bestie for being on again.
Our bestie. Once again, as well, if you are so inclined, please go watch Deanna's video.
And definitely give Morgan a follow,
and
a subscribe.
Give Morgan a follow and a subscribe. Check out some
Yes.
of the videos we've done with her.
Yes.
Those are really great. We had so much fun with
her
them.
storytelling is amazing.
So good.
If you're interested, this was just like a little sneak preview of Morgan's, Appalachia stuff. So if you are into that kind of content, definitely give her a follow. She has so much interesting stuff. She experiences so much living there. She shares her own experiences. She shares viewer submitted experiences. And I feel like it gives a really well-rounded picture of kind of what's going on out there in a very honest way. And I appreciate that so much about her. So if you're into that, definitely go check her out.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Taylor, if they want to see more of you, where can they find you?
TikTok, YouTube, Discord.
Lovely. I am at Paranormal Mitch on TikTok. If you would like to submit questions for these podcasts, check out our Discord. Also,
and the link in the description as well.
Thank you. Also, if you have ideas for podcasts, we are always open for ideas for podcasts. We love hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Either about the podcast itself, recommendations, comments, whatever. Leave them in the video, leave them in Discord, whatever. We appreciate them. Greatly.
Yeah. And we definitely do take topic suggestions.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
So like the Black Eyed Children episode was Kara's idea. Like, please submit your ideas. If you're like, hey, I really want to learn about this, we will deep dive it with you. So definitely share your ideas with us. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah. But thank you very much for watching. This would not be possible without you. We enjoy this very much. And we'll see you next week.
See you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.